The call. Halle Berry is a 911 call operator. She is operating a call when a terrible tragedy plays out before her, so traumatic that she doesn't want to do any more of this and becomes a teacher. However, she happens to be the person who is there when a call comes in from Abigail Breslin, who has been abducted and is now calling from the trunk of a car. Halle Berry has to put on the headset again. Here's a clip.
Now, Casey, first thing I need you to do is look inside that trunk and see if you can find a release lever. Usually it glows in the dark. Do you see that?
No, it doesn't even have one of those.
Okay. Okay, it's okay, sweetheart. What mall were you at when you were abducted?
Fashion Plaza.
Fashion Plaza. Okay. Oh, I know, the one that's downtown, right? Okay, it's okay, sweetheart. Calm down. What's your last name?
Wilson.
Wilson, okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, I see that. I got all your information right here in front of me, okay?
Freaking out right now.
Oh, look, you're a Capricorn. Me too. You know what that means, honey?
What?
We're fighters. That means we were born to fight. So you know what I want you to do? I want you to fight, okay? Can you fight for me, Casey?
Yeah.
Okay, good girl.
Now you can tell from that clip again. It's a thriller. Obviously, it has horror inflections to it, and it's
that was scary.
Yeah, it was scary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And actually, what works about the film is that is a scary setup. The idea that somebody's on the other end of a phone. I mean, there are obvious comparisons to, for example, the Ryan Reynolds film Buried. Remember that when he wakes up in a coffin and all he's got is a phone link with somebody on the outside. And the original director on this was going to be Joel Schumacher, who of course had done Phone Booth, which was Larry Cohen, and so there's a connection there. But it's a good sort of stripped down B-movie exploitation setup. One person in the back of a car, other person thing trying to sort of figure out how are we going to get out? How are you going to signal that it's your car? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? And the film focuses on the relationship between Abigail Breslin and Halle Berry, which is a relationship happening across this really, really fraught connection, which is the phone connection. And it does that stuff really well. I mean, it's, cranked up tension. It's nasty when it needs to be nasty. It is, properly sort of edge of your seat squeamish and knuckle chewing. It is true that, as is so often the case with this kind of thing, when it gets into the third act, it sort of loses its way. And I know a lot of people who have thought that what happens in the third act, because to give you a strangely tangential, do you remember Speed? Remember the whole setup of Speed is if the bus goes below a certain speed, the bus will blow up, right? And then 2/3 of the way through the film, they forget that and they go off and they do something else. And then it involves trains and it involves running, okay? It's almost like the central idea will only last you to a certain point, and then for the third act you have to do something else. Well, in the third act of this, they have to do something else, and they have to open it out, and they have to move rather more into kind of, action adventure stuff that you would expect, or even, I mean, certainly there are nods. I mean, I know this is a thriller, but it's a slasher influenced thriller, absolutely. But what's interesting is that so often the case with these, it turns out to be the case that the women who are apparently on the back foot, in fact, are more resourceful, smarter, tougher than the people that they're up against. And although it is true that the third act doesn't make credible sense, it does follow through on the fact that the film is actually about the relationship between these two people overcoming adversity, and it's stripped down. It's directed by Branson, who made The Machinist, and got that really kind of strong performance out of Christian Bale. Do you remember The Machinist, in which Christian Bale was almost like a kind of, like a stick insect? It was a total physical transformation that he was doing. It's certainly got a B-movie aesthetic. It's sort of ruthless, and for a good part of it, even if you think the third act doesn't work, and I think the third act works better than other people do, and I like the sort of sting in the tail and the darkness of it all, and I like the horror inflections. I think for 2/3 of it, most people would find it pretty hard not to find themselves going, is she going to get out? How are they going to do it? How are they? It's one of those sort of problem-solving things in which is such a straightforward setup, and it's directed with such sort of efficiency that for at least 2/3 of it, you are going to be completely rooting for those two.